Happy Fragrant Friday, Fraghead. Hey everybody, this is Ben here at That Cologne Guy, coming at you with a different type of review. We're going to take a look at some of my favorite notes, actually. I made a top list of notes recently, and I really had so much fun with that. And of course, Neroli and Orange Blossom both made it on. And then for recently, subscriber Pranav Shukla, and I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. Please let us know if I did not. Pranav Shukla. And Pranav reached out and asked me about episode 186, which was my review on Fig Infusion. In that episode, I mentioned that in a previous one, I had talked about the difference between Orange Blossom and Neroli. So he asked me which episode was that. And when I went back to my top notes episode, I realized I talked about the two separately, but I didn't really talk about so much of the similarities and differences between them. And really what had happened was I have done that over the last few months in comments with other subscribers. So I promised Pranav I would do a separate episode, and so it is time here to set the record straight. I actually have really enjoyed this one. It required a fair amount of research, and as you guys know, I really enjoyed that part of it a lot. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk a little bit about history, a little bit about the actual tree, then I'm going to talk about the what they smell like, and then I have a difference between the two as far as Neroli fragrances and Orange Blossom fragrances, and then I'm going to end with actually showing you two physical bottles so you can really see a possible difference. So here's what started all of this. First of all, you guys know that Neroli is a huge player in the fragrance community. It's a very prominent note. I love Neroli. I think it adds to so many fragrances. Some of these fragrances I mentioned are not really Neroli based, but they have Neroli in them, fair enough. But I just think that Neroli, kind of like guaiac wood and other notes that I love so much, they can do no wrong. They really add a lot to a fragrance. In the past year or so, I've seen an explosion of Orange Blossom notes and fragrances, and every once in a while you'll see somebody say Neroli in parentheses Orange Blossom, or perhaps the other way around, or suggest that they are synonymous. And so in this episode, we will talk about this and show that they are not. Here is a little bit about the background. So when you look at Neroli in terms of the word itself, Neroli is named, and I have my trusty notes here, so that's why I'm looking down. In full transparency, as they say. Neroli is named after an Italian town and commune, Nerola, 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 of the metropolitan city of Rome and Latium. So this is going, and I will have, in post, I will put in maps. So I will have a lot of dancing fingers in this episode because I will show you some maps and I will make it more visual for you. It's very important, right? So in the Italian town and commune called Nerola, there was a princess. Sounds like a beginning of a story. Yeah, so the princess of Nerola, at the end of the 17th century, began to put this in her bath and on her gloves. And so it was named after the town of Nerola, and the princess is the one who started using it. And her name is Marie-Anne de la Trémouille, who is the Duchess of Bracciano. Now, why she has a French name in Italy, that you can help me with. So I'm not really sure what's going on there, but all we really need to know is the princess of that town, or Nerola, was the one who began using this at the end of the 17th century. Now let's take a look at the actual tree itself. This is a tree that's native to Asia, and I have talked about a bitter orange in the past. So when I first started this hobby, I had, of course, no idea what all of this is. Maybe perhaps didn't even care. I just liked if it smelled great. And I kept saying bitter orange, and I did not know that that is different than orange. It's actually a separate fruit. Perhaps obvious to you, but I didn't know that originally. Then I started looking at bitter orange, and I put pictures over the years of certain episodes whenever it comes up. So bitter orange is a tree that is native to Asia, and its genus or genus is Citrus aurantium or Citrus aurantium, It's the one, I'll have pictures again, but the main thing for me is I always think of an orange with a lot of bumps and sometimes even grooves in it. I've seen different ones. Sometimes they're even green, maybe they're like almost like a lime, but it typically looks like an orange with a lot of bumps on it, and I've seen sometimes where they have grooves in it, and I will provide a picture for you of what a bitter orange fruit looks like. So the bitter orange tree. Now, and then the second thing is if you cut the fruit in half and hold it like this, the ones I've seen, again, I will provide pictures, looks like an orange. It looks like an orange as far as the color, but it texture-wise and just in terms of its seed, visually it reminds me more of the inside of a grapefruit. So I always kind of tell myself it almost looks like a mix between an orange and a grapefruit. But I've never tasted one, so I can't speak to the actual taste. I'm just saying visually. So this is the bitter orange tree. Of the fruit, foliage, and bloom, both the orange blossom and neroli come from the bloom. So in the comments that we've gone, and when we chatted back and forth over the years, sometimes I've heard people say that orange blossom is the flower and neroli is the foliage, and I did not find that to be the case. In the research, sites were very clear in saying both of them come from the bloom. Now, what's interesting about that is if you look at pictures of it on Fragrantica and just everywhere else, whenever they show a picture of neroli, they almost always show, of course, the flower, the bloom, but then behind it they include the foliage. That's not the case for the orange blossom. In the orange blossom, they always do a close-up of the actual flower, just the bloom part of it. And so I'm wondering if that's just coincidence or what. But in what I have found, you guys, if you're experts in the field, you can certainly help us along. But I found across the board that both orange blossom and neroli come from just the bloom, not the fruit, of course, and then not the foliage. The difference, however, is how they are extracted. So neroli is extracted from steam distillation, and orange blossom is extracted mainly by volatile solvents, which is either a term you use in the fragrance community or it's a 90s college rock band. I'm not really sure what to make of that. Neroli is from is extracted by steam distillation, and orange blossom is extracted by volatile solvents, and then in very rare cases is extracted by enfleurage, which is enfleurage. It looks like enflowerage, right? To flower eyes. Enfleurage, obviously a French term, which is a certain type of extraction, and it's very, very rarely done because it's super expensive. So really looking at neroli is extracted by steam distillation, orange blossom, almost all cases, extracted by volatile solvents. Let's get to the smell. So when it comes to the smell, and I'll show you some visuals in a minute, but I want you to imagine this first, because a tendency is orange blossom is noted as sweeter, warmer, and more floral. For me personally, I don't know about warmer, but I would say sweeter, and I would say more floral is the key term for orange blossom. To me personally, I don't have a trained nose, but I often think that it has a jasmine-like smell to it. Again, I am certainly not an expert, but that's kind of what I tell myself to get me away from neroli and into the full-on experience of orange blossom. I remind myself that it is not just floral, but often smells jasmine-like to me, at least in the fragrances that I've smelled. And then neroli is greener and spicier. So I went to Fragrantica and clicked on search by notes, and I picked out just a few that I like, and this just shows you what a heavy hitter these fragrances are. These notes are. I'm not saying again that the fragrances are Neroli dominant or Orange Blossom dominant. I'm just simply saying they're in here, and it just goes to show you that, I mean, these are really in some of the heaviest hitters in the game, at least in terms of crowd pleasers, maybe not niche. Okay, so I picked 6 for each one, and I picked 6 that I've had before and that I really like. So for Neroli, think about, just listen to this list, okay? Acqua di Gio, okay? Come on. I say aqua, you say... All right, sorry. Acqua di Gio. And remember, it's not Acqua di Gio. It's not Gio, it's Gio, like Giovanni. The next one, Chrome. I mean, come on. Dolce and Gabbana, at least the 2012 reformulation. Prada Amber or Amber Man, Prada Man. It has like 17 names. It's you know the one I'm talking about. Outstanding fragrance. Aqua Amara, which I own and love, and Reflection Man by Amouage. So just listen to that list. Those are Neroli fragrances, or fragrances that have Neroli in them. Acqua di Gio, Chrome, Dolce and Gabbana, Prada Amber, Prada Man, Aqua Amara, Reflection Man. That is an embarrassment of riches, my friends. If you had those 6 fragrances alone, you would be set for life. It just gets better. Because if you look at Orange Blossom, check out these 6. The One by Dolce and Gabbana. Yope with an exclamation mark, and no, it's not Jupe. Please tell me you don't say Jupe. It's Joop for the old folks out there like me. You guys know this is the 80s powerhouse. It came out in 89, so that counts, right? It is when I first got Yope, I mean, it would last. If you put it on a Friday night, seriously, you could pick it up until Monday morning, like on your watch band, or if you wore like the same shirt for 2 days, something. It was insane, the beast mode that it had, and probably still does in the reformulation. That's Yope. Le Male, I know it's a vanilla based, but it has Orange Blossom in it by Jean-Paul Gaultier. Beach Hut Man, which Darius at Dr. Goo loves, and of course, I mean, I absolutely love it myself. At Locked Sense, actually, is his channel. But I love that one, and I know he's and that might even make his top 5, actually. And then Boss Bottled Intense by Hugo Boss. Come on. And then last but not least, one of the best fragrances with the worst name. My favorite actor is Anthony Hopkins. You guys probably remember when I reviewed this, and it's called AH, not Ah. So, like, remember the 80s band Aha? Take on Me? So, like, Aha at least is kind of fun to say, but like Ah doesn't quite work. It's like, did you get that new bottle of Ah? But then it doesn't really sound good. Like, hey, how about what's that AH juice you're rocking? Unfortunate about the name, but I really like the fact that it's like an orange dreamsicle and suntan lotion. This is a very, very nice fragrance, and so those 12 fragrances alone are outstanding. That said, I wanted to show you what I think is going on here for me personally. Here is a fragrance with Neroli in it. How's that? If I were a bigger channel, people would comment and bash me and say, these are not Neroli based or Orange Blossom based. Perhaps I fully get what they're saying there, but this has Neroli in it, and this one, of course, has Orange Blossom in it. And what I like about this visually, as you can see here, this is a greener fragrance. This is going to be a greener feel to it, and then this one is going to be more of a floral, jasmine-like fragrance. I often think that Orange Blossom, as I said, would be wonderful on a woman's skin. But it's also included in very, very sexy men's fragrances like The One. So it's going to be more floral if you prefer that. And then this one is going to be greener. That said, They are both outstanding. I love both of them. The Orange Blossom on my list, my top notes, I think made the honorable mention, and then the Neroli is way up there. I mean, I have a very soft spot for Neroli just because you guys know this is my emotional favorite of all time anyway. Neroli is just an outstanding smell. One argument maybe you could make too is that this might be Neroli might be perhaps more for the day, and Orange Blossom perhaps more for the night. But I don't know that that's the case. I just wanted to show you that they are not the same. They are not exactly the same. So when you see like Neroli in parentheses Orange Blossom, they are separate notes. These are the differences that I found: greener, spicier, more floral. And then what else did they list for the smells? Give me 1 second. Yeah, sweeter, warmer, and more floral. Okay, so let me know of these 6 for each category, which one do you like? And then the main thing for your comments I would love to know is what is your favorite Neroli-based fragrance? Hold on. Or fragrance that has Neroli in it. Or Orange Blossom-based fragrance. And of course, or has Orange Blossom in it. Do you like these notes? Have you observed a difference before in the past? Have you seen what we have said that sometimes people will say they're exactly the same? How do you tease the two apart? I would love to know all of this. I really had a fun time in this episode because it's something that was long overdue. It came up a lot in comments with subscribers, so much so, of course, that I even thought that it was in a previous episode, but really it was a discussion that we have had in comments. And then, of course, when I did the my favorite notes episode, that was they both made it on there without the shadow of a doubt. So this was a lot of fun to see the history behind it, to see where they come from visually. I will make sure I add maps. You guys just like me to do the finger dance. I know that, and so if you want to see more of that, you can go to my OnlyFans site. So I hope you are doing well. Have a great week. Always good to talk to you. I really look forward to going back and forth with you throughout the week in comments. And of course, let me know your scent of the day, if nothing else, as I always say. In my scent of the day is Custom National Pour Homme, just an absolute amazing fragrance. And when that is out, I will get another one because I've really enjoyed my experience with Custom National Pour Homme. I really like to wear it in late fall, early winter when the temperature drops. It's just a really nice, original, I find it to be manly fragrance. I just really like it, everything about it, actually. So that's my scent of the day. What's yours? Let me know about Neroli Orange Blossom. Do you see them as the same? Could you care less? Whatever floats your boat, whatever you have to say when it comes to these two, I would love to hear. Take care of yourself, and always remember, my friends, fragrance marks the celebration of today. Take care, everybody. A tendency tends to be